At Dave Cooper Live, we connect the industry leaders in the architectural, engineering, and construction space with the people, the products, and the processes to help them build it better. Every month we wait. Housing prices rise. Every project's delayed. Families are left behind. What if there was a faster, smarter way, already approved and ready to go way to build? Today, we're talking about a solution that's not a concept. It's already code approved, tested, and ready to build faster, safer homes across America. Their component construction system has cracked the toughest barriers in home building, from skyrocketing costs to slow permitting processes, by rethinking construction from the panel up. No more endless delays, no more building the same way. But before we get into this conversation, we first have to thank all of our supporting members. So with that said, a big shout out to Cobalt Creed. They service home builders, developers, pre-foam home builders, and manufacturers, allowing them to achieve the highest levels of comfort, indoor air quality, and low energy costs with their HVAC systems installed for their projects and their customers. Their approach is simple. By using their proprietary small duct high velocity central heating and cooling system, learn more at cobaltcreed.com. And also, make sure you say thank you to these supporting members. We'll be right back, and we'll get started with the show. Combilift is the largest global manufacturer of multi-directional forklifts and straddle carriers, a leader in long load handling solutions, offering a free warehouse and site optimization design service. Combilift helps companies of all sizes and from every industry maximize the capacity, safety, and efficiency of their warehouse and storage facilities. A big thank you to Paul Short and the team at Combilift for helping us all to build it better. Visit them at combilift.com. Ready to scale up your offsite construction business? Introducing 4A Constructs, your solution to finding skilled labor for offsite manufacturing. Say goodbye to the headache of recruiting a skilled workforce with hand-selected certified tradesmen that are expertly trained and managed for offsite manufacturing, set crews, and finished crews, ensuring maximum productivity and safety. Unlock the future of skilled workforce development for all of your offsite construction needs. Visit them at 4aconstructs.com. All right. Again, thank you to all of our supporting members, to include all the supporting members that you see scrolling across the bottom of your screen right there. We can't do any or all of this without all of you out there. And again, big shout out to EcoMod, Howick, Modular, Maven, and so many others for helping us continue doing what we do best, and that's shining the spotlight on all of you out there. And today is no different. So let's hop into it. Let's bring our guests onto the show and give them a big warm welcome. Eric Benavides, how are you? And George Castellanos, how are you guys today?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thanks for having us on,
Dave.
I'm very excited to be here.
All right. Well, listen, we're excited to hop into today's show with you and really start to understand how in the world did you get your own building system approved through the ICC and the Code Council and everything else. Fornidos, but we're going to get into that in just a minute. First, we want to know a little bit about each of you before we get started here. Eric, we're going to start with you. Why don't you give us your elevator pitch and how did you get into this and what gave you the experience to start something like this?
Well, I started my career in home building back in '82. I came into this system with the aspect of being a home builder. And so over the time, that's how I really got started. Been in home building for about 40 years and been fortunate to work on patents and things of that nature throughout these years. But really, that was the real change for me, is being able to see what does a builder want.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, listen, if you're a builder and you're in this space, you kind of learn what you want and what you don't want, especially when you have a lot of experience. All right, Jorge, listen, you're up, man. Tell us a little bit about your experience all the way back from childhood to your modular years.
Okay. So Dave, back in 1969, no, I will not go that back. So 25 years ago, I moved to Canada, originally from Cuba. I am a professional engineer in all Canadian provinces. And most of my career has been in modular construction. So when I met Eric, I found the missing link between standard on-site construction and the modular construction. And that is how we started working. Most of my career has been managing engineering for modular construction and managing manufacturing plants. And then that combined with Eric's experience on site construction of family homes. So that is how we started working on. Eric already had the system advanced. So I started working with him, bringing my engineering background and manufacturing backgrounds.
All right. So listen, I ask everybody because it starts from a passion. It starts from a napkin or a bottle of bourbon or beer or wherever. But somewhere along the way, you know, it kind of dawned on you that there is a better way and that you kind of cracked the code literally on how to get some pre-approvals for your offsite system. How did this start? Eric, go ahead.
So my aha moment was after '08, I got into this, and of course, COVID wasn't too kind to that, but I had a machine shop and COVID was full blown. And I thought people working from home was going to be a long-term play. And I wanted to get into that, but I didn't want to start pouring slabs again. Of course, it's COVID. And so having the metal shop, I started with shipping containers and that went pretty well. We did a couple of dozen of those, but I learned pretty quick that number one, the logistics of actually building it, but really getting into the acceptance of how do cities approve this. And that's really where I started playing with how could I get in and out of a backyard because of timing and COVID and manpower, but what kind of product could I build to do that? So I actually started working with panels even before I even knew really what offsite construction was. Honestly, 5 years ago, I didn't know what modular was. I knew what manufactured was. And as a stick builder, never really saw the play. And so just started playing with panelized systems and really grew from there.
And when did you reach out to Jorge and say, all right, listen, here's the idea. This is what we're doing. And then Jorge, did you have hair then and then you lost it through this entire process or walk me through this and then we'll get into the presentation.
Yes, so that it was around a year and a half ago. As I said, all my experience, somebody introduced us, a friend of ours introduced. And when I started working with Eric, my first idea was how I can use this panel into the modular industry, because that was my background. It took me a few weeks to figure it out. This is a better way because it's the missing link between standard construction and modular construction. So it's not a standard. You can use the manufacturing processes, optimizing everything and speed to market. And at the same time, you don't need all the heavy equipment, lifting cranes, that space that you need to set up a modular building. And you can get the benefit of both. But it took me a few weeks to really understand the benefit and then all the way through the ICC certification, which is one of the main differentiators of our system. So that is how we start working together, Eric and I.
Awesome. Let's get into it. Let's take a look at the system itself. I'm going to put it on the screen here for you, Eric. And why don't you walk us through what we're looking at? And also, during this presentation, please explain what is the difference outside of the code approval. What's the difference between your wall panels and other wall panels out there?
So by not being in the business, I didn't have the tunnel vision of coming to this from the factory side. I was a builder. And one of the things that I wanted to do with, so this was one of the first shipping containers, if not the first that we worked with. But as you can see, this was 5 years ago. I actually had panelized visions before I even knew what panelization was. But because I didn't know the industry, I didn't know the rules. And so one of the things that I wanted to be able to do is to have a product that was finished. I didn't want to just do because as a builder, I never really saw the advantages of a frame panel system and bringing a wall out. And I'll be honest that I just couldn't frame on site quickly. And so unless I could make something and build something and manufacture something that completed the whole house in an afternoon. Back then, this was more of an office in a backyard. It wasn't houses at that time. And so that was really where not having that experience actually, I had a whole brand new set of vision of what this could actually be. And these are some of the original panels that we started with. So our panels are complete. And I know there's some questions about how do we handle mechanicals, but I wanted something that could be painted on the inside and out, and how I already had the insulation and framing and everything. But another differentiator is I wanted the foundation, the walls, which turned out to be interior and exterior, and the roof panel. I wanted to be able to do the entire structure at the same time.
So with that said, with the entire structure, and I know you're going to get into a little bit on the MEP side of this and how that works, this has only been in the making for a year and a half. Did I hear you right, Jorge, when you said you kind of been at this for a year and a half?
I has been involved in the system a year and a half, but Eric was working with the system before, and even he had some of the engineering behind the system done before I joined the company. So a year and a half since I joined the company.
Since you joined, all right, and it says August 20th on the screen. All right, walk us through, Eric.
So back then, this was again COVID. So I started playing with this this panelized system and filed actually the first patent. It'll be 5 years in August, and so it's a provisional patent. I don't know if you've dealt much with patents, but those take years. And so we've had some pushback, and of course you solved those problems. So we're still making some good progress on that. But so I've been really working this more on the R&D side. And then I went to I wanted an encapsulated panel. So I went to a buddy of mine that was actually a retired building official. And I said, how can I create a product that a builder could use that a building inspector couldn't see the inside of? And that was the challenge. How could I create a finished panel that a builder, or again, plans examiner or inspector couldn't see what was inside? And that's when he said, well, if you went to the ICC, the International Code Council, they have a report called the Evaluation Service Report, the ESR, and maybe you can get one of those. And that started the journey. And that's what's really taken the last couple of years to develop.
Can you explain to people that are watching this that don't really know the difference between an EER and an ESR certification?
So the ESR, so it's the International Code Council, which is the nonprofit that manages the building codes. They have a profit side called the Evaluation Services. So it's ICCES. And if you want to sell a product that meets code, you can, as a manufacturer, Zip Wall or Simpson Strong Ties, you go to them and you take all of your engineering to them, and they double check everything, and then they create a report that's called the Evaluation Service Report. And that's the report that meets the international building codes for that product. And then about a year and a half ago, they created a new report called the EER, which is the equivalency report. And what that does is it takes the building product that's under the ESR and allows, I'm a little bit unique to where my product is actually a building panel versus a fiberglass rebar or a Simpson Strong Tie. And so this EER report took an ESR product and created the the IRC code. So it was prescriptive use. And so I was fortunate enough and kind of, hijacked the system a little bit that I had a system panels, and then I was able to create an IRC approved building plans. So it's the prescriptive use of those products into a building plan. And that's how I have 14 sets of pre-approved plans right now under the International Residential Code approved by the ICC themselves.
And looking at the pictures here, I mean, I'm seeing it looks like a wall panel, but you also have floor cassette and roof cassette, and you're going to walk us through that, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So as I went through this, is, same industry challenges. I won't get into this. Most everybody listening to this is professionals, labor shortages, rising costs, things of that nature. And then our solution, which was the panelized system, but meeting the ICC and ESR code, which took a couple of years, a lot of engineering, but I was fortunate enough to get it. And those are actually approved at this time. So they're already done, and we've also actually improved them as well. So I took a panel first approach. We'll look at some of those in just a second. We are ESR compliant. As I said, those are already done and have been approved. The one thing about the system is when I met with the ICC, I really wanted to be able to improve it. I wanted to adjust it. You've got different zones. You've got snow load over here, wind load over here. Of course, there's new products coming out every day. Fire is an issue, seismic is an issue. And so that was really important to me to be able to create a system that could actually be improved over time and work with new products out there as we got into it. And so what I've learned is there's offsite, which is essentially manufactured in modular. There's site-built construction, which was my career, and again, basically most all houses. And I find that the Fornidos is actually the hybrid approach, a little bit of panel, which is a building product, but using offsite construction to get us through that. So that panelized system, as you can kind of see, is where we really shine. But then the ESR and the EER are really important to the overall system itself.
With your system, what are you guys using for design software to develop this?
So I really started with SketchUp. Drew every 2x4 and every piece of plywood, and that's where Jorge came into play. So right now he uses Revit, which I think is the industry standard. Is that correct, Jorge?
Yes. So we use Revit for the drafting and modeling in 3D. Everything, all the components are done in Revit. On the engineering side, we use different softwares. The ICC ESR is approved with wood. So we use StructSoft for the structural design, also in 3D, and we bring all those capability with 3D visualization, virtual reality, and augmented reality to the manufacturing process.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And StructSoft's been a huge supporter, great tech StructSoft to the Dave Cooper Live show. So I'm glad to hear that you're using them, and a big shout out to them for all their support over the years. So keep going through, Eric. I'm ready. I got it now.
Good. So cassettes, panels, components, they're all kind of interchangeable at this time, but these are essentially our major panels. We have a floor product, which is a standard size. That's one thing about our system is we essentially have 24 sets of panels, and that's really about it. We'll expand over time. We actually have a design for a structural steel floor. Right now we have lumber, and we're actually in the middle of engineering light gauge steel for the whole house itself. And so by using that consistent panel, we do have some restrictions. This isn't for custom home builders. It is more of a high volume to solve the affordable housing issue. And but it's like a water, what was it? The Whopper. You can have 1,000 different ways. So I can't even imagine all the different opportunities you have to create different layouts. But this is our floor panels that we have here, our exterior wall panel, very consistent size. And that's good because of the way our manufacturing is. How do we ship? Does it fit into a shipping container? The component construction system is the name of the company, but it's a mouthful. So Fornidos, which means well built in Spanish, where that came from, is really a system, not just a bunch of panels, but decentralized manufacturing, the ICC, ESRs nationwide. The overall system is designed to be really scaled and embrace and empower builders and manufacturers itself. So this would be our roof panel, engineered trusses put together into our panel. We have interior wall panels as well. We have a new product coming out where this is showing a finished plywood for very rapid deployment instead of sheetrock. But we have clients that want sheetrock, so we're going to start sending them out with sheetrock because they don't like the seam, which I don't disagree with. But our goal is really how do you get high volume, low cost across the country, and that was the overall system itself. And again, definitely trying to have a finished product as much as possible. We still got to put the shingles on site.
So each panel fits inside a container box. What's the interior width of a container box?
Roughly about 7'6".
7'6". Got it.
Yes. And we're 14 foot wide. Everything is 6 foot, but the overall footprint, as of now, we have designs to go larger. And so our overhangs on the roof are a foot. So our roof panels are 16 foot, but it's 14 by 6 foot. We have different ways to stack them. We have some pictures where we just sent a duplex with 4 bedrooms for some workforce housing up to Sturgis. And so it had a higher snow load. So we recalculate the snow load for the trusses, and then we improve our actual roof panel system itself. This next video, I believe, is actually going to kind of allow us to see how it goes together. Now, how do you handle different locations? So we still got to have a foundation inspection. And so we just work with local engineers, which you have to have anyway, whether it be a pier, a stem wall, this is a ground screw, helical piers, that has to be done locally. So we just embrace that in our overall designs. And as you can see, this is how the panels just go together. This is our interior walls. Now this right here is key. Instead of worrying about how do I get mechanicals into every wall, we rely on chases. Chases throughout the exterior walls. We leave a gap at the bottom so you can get your outlets in place. We use low voltage for lighting and fans. Great product, which is really the way things are going now. But we work in a centralized chase, and that way the local inspectors can see this as well. And that way we can be nationwide and use the local contractors and employ people locally in this. Of course, shingles will be done on site, finish outs up to the builder itself.
So the chase itself would have one wall that was left unfinished, so they have access. Is that how it works?
That's exactly right. We'll ship it out with the material. You pull it loose when you get on site. The mechanical contractors come in. You go through local inspections, which is one of the main reasons that the cities have allowed us to use this, is because they can inspect how this goes together.
And are we looking at mini splits? Is it approved with, or is it just whatever the local HVAC company wants to put in?
No, we really lean towards the mini splits because it reduces the chases. It's a good product. You can have one mini split. Actually, I did the same video again. More than one mini split, so you got redundancy, air conditioning. Of course, you can zone them out. Hawaii is a lot different than South Dakota, and so we rely on that. I think that's a good way to put these facilities together. As you're seeing, everything is only 24 panels, so no matter how many configurations you have, it's the same panels over and over again. We are working on our 9-foot panels at the moment as well. We need some more volume, and it's just more appealing to the market.
Yeah, got it. And the sheetrock is finished on the inside. It's taped off if you're going to do it versus the plywood.
No, well, it's not finished. It's installed. Yes. So you get on site, and then you would actually do your tape bed and texture when you're on site with your local contractors at that time. Because this could be used for, again, temporary housing, emergency housing. Our model's been put together and moved probably 15 times, where we've actually put it together and taken it apart. Of course, you can't do that with sheetrock. So for emergency housing, that would probably be the best way to go with our wood.
Yeah. So are the panels? Walk me through the panel installation. Are they screwed? They nailed? If you can take them apart, I guess you could screw them, right?
Yes. When I was going through the actual engineering, working with the ICC, one of the things I wanted to do was making sure I was using off-the-shelf products.
Yeah.
And so when I was working with the engineers at Simpson Strong Ties, I actually got better results from using a screw, and so it's versus the nails. So by default, I wound up using screws everywhere, and they have their testing done with screws. And so it wound up, I had a house that was screwed together. Now these are going to be approved. I've had many conversations. I was at the housing summit in DC and spoke to FEMA, or Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. They said, yeah, so these are houses. They're not modular. They go through regular inspections, so you can get mortgages on them. So by being able to screw it together, it got a better performance, and I can take them apart.
Got it. So right now you're just working on the single family models. Do you have 2-story or multifamilies already approved? Yeah,
our real goal, as I was saying, was to create a system, not just a set of panels. So light gauge steel is coming, 2-story, higher seismic, 9-foot plates. We have a roof panel that's with a single pitch and has clear story glass. All those are in the future. And what's good about it is we can modify the system and incorporate those. Once they're incorporated, automatically nationwide under IBC approval.
Great, great.
And that's where we're at. This is the ESR. This is the actual ICC ES report. This is public knowledge. So when a builder or a plans examiner wants to see it, in fact, I think it's the go-to for most inspectors and plans examiners when they want to make sure a product is approved. This is where they go. We were fortunate enough to be able to get this, and working with the ICC. It took a while. It wasn't that easy, but we are done, and it is issued. So this is our ESR report.
Yeah, and I'm going to actually share your website real quick so everybody can see. So if you want to download this report, look at anything that Fornidos has done, it's all on their website here, and there's downloadable links as well. Go straight to our good friend Ryan Kolker's ICC, the International Code Council's website. But all the information for the ESR and the EER are right here, right on Fornidos' site, and you can go there and you can also look at all their plans as well. So just wanted to make sure people knew that they could go to your site for that. Don't have to go picking and hunting through the ICC Code Council website. This will take you right to it.
Right to it, yes, because going through zoning and things, that can be a chore.
Yeah. Excellent.
So what are we are a startup. You know, I know I've been at this a long time, but it was years of R&D, but Fornidos and producing panels and actually executing that. We know we've been doing that for about 16 months now. January of last year is when we actually got started. This letter here is where I wanted to be able to, put my money where my mouth is, if you will. So I went to the city of Dallas, which is my hometown, went straight to the top and started asking the building official, are you going to accept this? And so I received this letter while I was at the International Builder Show Startup Zone. And I received this on Monday because I wanted to be out there and tell people what I did, but I wanted to be able to back it up. I got the ESR that day, the updated, the EER, and this letter from the city. So if you'll see here, this is where they agree. He's instructing his staff that the inspection staff to accept the ESR 5284, which basically means this is stick-built construction. It's going to go through regular permitting, regular inspections, and we were pretty proud to be able to get this to prove that the ESR is what it is.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thanks. This is our, we have copyrighted plans. We have some provisional patents. Of course, the ESR, the EER are very important to us and have been integral in a lot of hard work, but the payoff's been great. I feel very blessed to have that happen. And of course, having Jorge around to make sure I didn't get too far off the rails has been a blessing as well. This right here this is a house about to go. This one went to Sturgis and was shipped out last week.
Sturgis, where they have the motorcycle rally, Sturgis?
Sturgis, yep. So in the winter up there, they don't have much activity. Everything's in the summer, and so people move in. So this was some workforce housing.
Yeah, perfect.
I think things are pretty pricey up there. I need to send some of these up here for the rally. I think I could probably maybe get put in a little man camp and maybe get $1,000 a night, but I'm not sure I'd want to deal with too many of those people.
Well, we'll have to introduce you. One of the greatest bankers in the offsite space lives up there, and they own a bunch of bars as well. And heck, it's the last bar before you even get to Sturgis. So I have a good contact for you in that area.
I need to follow up with that for sure. So as you can see, this is a true panelized system. We stack them. Of course, they go, bill of lading and what panel is where and how do you do this. And then we shrink wrap it. And when it shows up on site, you just start unloading it and you start assembling your building or your home, knowing it's going to meet code. It's really as simple as that. It's the kit of parts, Lego system, all of those things. I think where we shine is the fact that we've already got our ESR and our EER done.
So here I am. I'm a contractor on site. This truck shows up with all these bundles of panels. Walk me through how I know where to start.
So in the ESR, it is required that we track the factory. So our factory insurance approved, and any new factory will fall under the quality control manual, which Jorge was instrumental in getting that factory ready to go. But every single panel basically has an ESR notification on it, but it's actually tracked. So we can actually go to a panel that we built, in a few years and go back and follow the paper trail to where the lumber came from. And so every panel has got its own particular code, and then it also has its own particular registration per panel. And the plans that we have, which are full working drawings, like a normal house, actually has the layout. This panel goes in this place and goes to this place. And they really only go together a certain way. So it's very easy to put together. So that really helps in the lower skilled trades, which we're going to be short of. And that's one way to be able to help housing grow is to have that type of system, not only the panels, but how do you put it together? And as you see, they're smaller.
Yeah, I mean, it's also great to have a passport system in place, right? You get to track where every product comes from. If there is a fail somewhere along the way or just something, it's good to be able to have that data to know what you're doing.
And Dave, that is one of the conditions on the ESR certification with ICC.
Yeah,
where we have to submit to them our quality control programs, the manual and everything. They review it and they inspect the plant to make sure that we are following our designs and our quality control processes. And every one of the panels that you can see in those pictures, they have a sticker with a specific serial number, and our quality control process allows us to track that, as Eric said, back to from where and when we bought the lumber.
Yeah, I love it. So just to clarify also on the assembly. So as a GC on site, and I need to put this together, I'm assuming the plans are labeled just like the panels are labeled, and you just start matching what goes where. Is it color coded? How do you know where to start?
By panel description. So we have EWP, exterior wall panel, and then typically we have EWP W32. So it's an exterior wall panel with a 32-inch window, and those kind of descriptions. And then we have full construction drawings to help you be able to get permits. So it's got your sections, your roof pitches, your room layouts, and then there's a specific plan layout where we actually know where all of the actual panels go. So it's really easy for everybody to follow. We recommend that you're probably going to be using a framing crew to put this together. Once those are done, then you'll switch to your sheetrock, your siding, cornice, roofers, and things of that nature.
Great.
And Dave, another layer of these is we use Autodesk Construction Cloud, and all our designs are in Autodesk Construction Cloud, so we can share the link of the 3D model with anybody, and they can, in either augmented reality or with their iPhone, once the foundations are in place, they can look through and see what is going where and follow the process.
Oh yeah, that's great. So visually they can see it.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Because we actually have two sets of drawings. We have the drawings for the panels themselves, and then of course the panels into the houses. So we actually have two sets of products, because I believe that decentralized manufacturing, maybe even licensing manufacturing over the future, is really how we can get a real impact against affordable housing. I mean, how many units are we down? In the millions. And I'm hoping that a system like this could allow, real impact without having to rely on government subsidies, especially with, things that are happening right now in the processes of HUD and things of that nature. It's really going to come to us as builders and innovators to solve the housing crisis. And I think this is a good way to do that.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that it all fits on a container, I mean, any disaster in the world, you guys could have this already loaded and ready to go in a moment's notice, as long as you had the order to load all those containers, right?
Well, imagine that, but also take it a step further. What if you actually had the entire factory in a shipping container?
There you go. Yeah. We've talked about this quite a bit. Like, why not have a ship that just is a factory for houses, and disaster strikes, you pull up like you're talking about and just roll them right out the door like you roll cars out the ship.
Yeah, because you hear about micro factories. It's like, so what does micro factory even mean? Is it micro houses? Is it micro equipment? Is it micro building itself? And with a product like this, a panel that we built 3 years ago in Florida would be the exact same panel that was built in California yesterday. And so imagine the economies of scale where these panels are being able to be reused or, the same, and how much infrastructure is really required to produce, thousands of homes.
Yeah, right. What are we looking at here?
So this right here is, again, same panels. This was our first build-to-suit, which is just outside of Dallas. These are just how a little community to go together. Again, it does have that. This was early on. We since graduated from them. These are Workhorse Housing. Again, same panels, just different configurations, and of course how the builder finishes them out. One thing about the system is as well is if the builder uses our system and poured a brick ledge, concrete footing, we could actually ship it without siding, which we tend to ship that. You'll have your zip wall. You can actually brick tie this and brick the house and pass inspections.
Huh.
This right here is a project we're working on. Of course, it's got that Hawaiian feel. Again, doesn't have to be the small ADU. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, different configurations, different finish outs. Of course, colors and architectural features are definitely left up to the builder, and we're not the builders. We are the suppliers of manufacture and of the equipment itself. Finish outs up to the homeowner, up to the builder. This is a ground screw. This is a cool product. I don't know if you've had much experience with this.
Sure, we have.
Yeah, great product. This is just showing what it looked like on a truck. So this is a 1,000 square foot house. Shows up, everything's on it: foundation, walls, roofs, and everything else. Again, these are our different features, what we're expecting to create, which is fires are a big issue right now, more insulation. That's really what I tried to do, is to create something that was flexible, that we could all, as a group, as an industry, actually have some inputs. Now, this is one thing that I was pretty proud of, is when I started the factory. Now, I'm a rookie, right? I don't know what a factory is supposed to look like. I've been in them, but a truss factory, but I can't say I've been in them what did I do? Built a jig table, put the wall together, flipped it to another jig table. And one day I was like, man, why am I pinching fingers and hurting backs? Why don't I just make the table to where we can rotate it? And apparently this was a little novel. I'm sure that there's somebody out there that's kind of creating this. But since I'm using a centralized standard panel, these rotating tables are really great, because I have one for each type of panel. And of course, our production decreased by about 70%, and then the footprint that we had in the factory was reduced by about 70%. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Now, this was the prototype. We've actually got some designs that we're creating that have rotating motors, some preset tops. Of course, robotics is something that is in the future. But this right here is what I mean by factory in a box. So we try to do a whole soup to nut system, not just the panels.
Yeah, I think that thing is great, man. I mean, I've seen some flip tables before, but you're right. When you have a step and repeat product, or a productized product, as they say, I mean, something like this is just efficiency at its max, especially when you're still using, labor versus automation. But this could easily go to an automated factory as well.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
And imagine the cost on this. It's, it's very, very easy to ship, very easy to build. You could have a factory building these as well. And another thing, again, being that rookie, you can kind of watch this video, is how do I build a big roof panel? And so I kind of like to call it a 3D jig. And so it's a jig. So it actually has measurements and, components in certain places. So we slide the trusses in, and we can work on both sides at the same time. And the roof panel never leaves this jig. It's on wheels. It rotates and goes from construction to the trucks themselves. You can paint, do the insulation, and everything as well. So again, Fornidos is what we consider a full system. So getting close to the end, this is just kind of a little quick layout that I did in SketchUp. Please forgive the actual look. This has about 10 pieces of my equipment, from exterior, interior, a little bit of feedback, a lot of feedback from Jorge. What does the factory look like? So a 30,000 square foot factory could produce about 1,000 square foot home of panels every day. And of course, why not ship the factory to the location? Or, I even got ICC to approve this being inside of a tent. They would agree to give me the license inside of a tent. So I was pretty happy with that. Of course, the cost is not in the millions. It's in the hundreds of thousands, and very, very fast to get licensed, within probably 60 days.
You mean the ICC has to approve the building you build these in as well?
Well, I don't think they actually needed to hear that, but I just wanted to make sure I could go back and said, you told me that a tent was okay, because I didn't want a guy showing up and going, what? This is a tent. This needs to be a factory.
Yeah.
But no, we can do that.
Excellent. Impressive.
Thanks.
You were going to say something a few seconds ago. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah. So in my experience in modular, sometimes in past companies, I tried to implement, or I implemented tables for manufacturing, and they are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars cost.
Yeah.
So working with Eric as his inventor mindset, he was explaining to me, okay, how much this costs, and I was showing him one of the big brands of tables, and they are hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Eric said, I think I can do the same thing a little bit cheaper with different. So it is the classic example of somebody coming from outside industry can disrupt because he was literally thinking outside the box. So, and that is what allowed us to create a system from beginning to end. Is
Yeah.
we documented and we set up everything from how to build the panels, how to install the panels, the engineering, and the approval behind the whole process from the beginning to the end. It's a system.
Well, and it is a system because you are doing, you know, not just on the manufacturing side of this, but, you know, always said, Jerry McKay, a good friend of mine from Integra that passed away, always said a system's floor, walls, roof, and stairs. And you guys, you know, you're doing single story right now, but I'm sure you're going to incorporate the stairs when you go to a second story building. And that is what a system is. A wall panel by itself is not a system, it's a component.
Really?
And the fact that you are doing the floor, walls, and roof, for people that don't understand this, developers out there that are looking at a system, if you tried wall panels in the past and they didn't go so well, it's because you didn't use the floor cassettes or the floor system as well. You're relying on too many people to get the job right versus one trade or one manufacturer to deliver the entire structure with accuracy. And that's where the success comes from and the efficiency comes from. Sorry about that, Eric. Went on a little rampage there. I'll let you get back to it.
Oh no, I'm about wrapped up, but you're correct. The engineering and how we got through and to get the performance. You know, I like to explain it. You know, as a builder, building a wall is one way, but when I started learning about this engineering, I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute, okay, I'm supposed to do what? But imagine a wall out of 2x4, but then imagine a wall of a bunch of dominoes stacked up to each other. Think about how can you make that strong, and that was the challenge. And I thought it was easy. I built, just do this, do that. No, it was it took quite a while. I don't know how many engineers we went through, different specialists. Of course, software. I didn't realize there was that much software that was required to do different calculations. And so we've been fortunate to get through there. Of course, with Jorge's, you know, expertise, everything that I dreamed up. There were things he came back and said, no, that ain't happening. But we've been very, very blessed and fortunate to get to this space.
Yeah, well, I agree. Let's talk business a little bit here. What is the business model? How do you go to market with this? How do you grow? How do you expand? Are you looking for partners? You're looking for investors? You're looking for factory owners that want to start doing this? Walk us through how people help you.
So we are a startup. We went through our first round of angel investing. We're in our second round. Eventually, there'll be, you know, some VCs or partnerships. We're open. I really didn't want to take the approach where we started giant factories. There's nothing against that. Just the technology is so evolving, and it's when you start talking about creating a software or a system that can be nationwide. In fact, there's ICCS Oceania. And so with, of course, a small fee, I could get this product approved in Australia and New Zealand. And then there's ICSES MENA, Middle East. And so this good product could go extremely fast. I'd really like to stay on the technology side. I consider this most to be a construction technology, and to explore, to empower people. But there's so many things to do. There's logistics, there's developers, there's factories, there's material suppliers. I would like to stay focused on that and really start to, you know, bring in industry people to help improve the system itself. And so I think that would be the goal. So we are, you know, we're in our second round of funding, but finding the right strategic partner, it's difficult. Most people, as a builder for 40 years, I didn't know what an ESR was until, you know, I was told, go try to get one. And
Right.
Once we got it, I didn't realize how difficult it was to get that. And I just didn't know. And people are coming to me going, you have your own ESR already? You know, I said, well, yeah. How did you get that? I don't know. I was just dumb enough to figure out how to do it. But no, that's the business model. Who we go to is really kind of almost limitless. Mm-hmm. You've got different people. Of course, you got the big FEMAs, the things of that nature. You've got build to rent neighborhoods. You've got certain places that are rural? Could these be the old Sears kit houses or our clients' manufacturers? We're really a system, and we're trying to find our way through that. We know we can perform. We've already been able to prove that. But we are looking for that strategic person that can come in, or company that can really help us get through this next round. But we want to be, I don't want to say global, that's a little bit big, but we're already nationwide. It's just how do we do the execute? We know we can handle that.
Yeah. And so factory wise or building wise, walk us through where you at with projects today. Are you putting things in the ground? Are you building things?
So everything that we've done so far has really been just a test of our abilities. We did a build to suit. We built a few models. We just shipped the panels to South Dakota. And so now we've been able to prove every step of it. But if you'll notice the dates on that ESR, that was in March. So I truly just got the ESR in March. And so right now we're deciding how to move forward. I'm a lot better off having these actual proof in the pudding, if you will. And so we're just getting into that. Where's our next factory? We have an R&D factory, but where's our next factory and what's the next steps? But yeah, you can see this was issued in March 2025. Barely 5 weeks ago did we get this done. This was the second an upgraded ESR.
Perfect. And it's all right on your website again for anybody that's interested in looking to take a look at those reports and understand it. And I'm assuming, because we're almost out of time here, that maybe we can have you back on and you can walk us through the process of achieving those. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would like to understand how that works.
Yeah, but the Coke recipe's under lock and key. So there's certain things that we'll share and be able to educate people. But there was a lot of time and effort in that. But no, I'd love to come back again. This has been fantastic. We appreciate everything you're doing for us and the industry.
No, well, listen, it's my pleasure to be able to showcase and let people know what their options are out there, right? Say it every show. Too many people living on the streets, too many veterans on the street. How we've been building doesn't work. It used to work, but it isn't working anymore. Population's growing much faster than we can build houses. So, and the cost is way through the roof. So the more folks like yourselves that are out there being innovative and coming up with new ideas and new solutions, it's going to be a recipe of everything, not just one size fits all. And I think this is a really good start. And it's funny. I think about a kit of parts, right? And I think about, all right, well, you have, how many panels do you have approval for right now? You have 14 homes, but how many panels total?
24 panels from foundation, interiors, 24 at the moment.
And I always sit there and I think about the lottery, right? When you go and pick just 10 numbers, it can be millions of different combinations. And I think that's kind of how you have to look at this. You can really get creative with what you've already done and keep expanding on it. So kudos to you guys. Well done.
Thank you. Couldn't have done it without Jorge. Having that expert around has been life-saving.
I love it. Well, hey, listen, Jorge's been in this industry a long time, and then you get somebody like yourself that's coming from outside the industry and magic happens. Look at that table you built. I love it. I love it. All right. Is there anything I didn't mention or anything you guys want to put out there before we wrap up today's show? Did I forget anything? Did I not ask enough hard questions? I don't know.
No, I think you asked all the questions. I usually talk too much. Unfortunately, Jorge doesn't get to put in many words, but no, I think we covered everything on my end. Jorge, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Dave, for the opportunity. Thank you.
No, we appreciate you guys coming on. And again, thank you to all of our supporting members. Again, this is not a pay-to-play show. We're inviting people on live. And the reason we do live is because you're hearing it directly from the people themselves. This is not edited content. And people want to do business with people they like. And Eric and Jorge, I think people are going to like you guys a lot. And I think they're going to like your product as well. So for the rest of you out there, guess what? It's Monday. And what does Monday have? Monday has 4.5 days left in the week to go. You're only at the beginning. So listen, we're going to continue bringing you all this informative conversations and meeting all these people out there. We would love for your help supporting us and continuing what we do. We want to have you on the show. If you're interested in coming on this show and you're doing something innovative, please feel free to send us a message. We'd love to have you on. And in the meantime, Eric and Jorge, I look forward to seeing your product and your houses popping up all over this great country. And if you do get get a factory on a boat, by God, you better invite me to live stream from it. I want to be there.
Consider the first invitation.
Sounds like a deal.
Awesome. All right, you two, don't go anywhere. I'll come back to you after the outro. But for the rest of you, make sure you thank all these supporting members as well. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.